everyone. Welcome to Global English Podcast. I'm Maya.
And I'm Sarah. Today we're starting our travel series. And honestly, I'm so excited about this because we both have some crazy travel stories.
Oh my gosh, yes. And today's topic is something I think everyone can relate to. Stressful experiences getting to the airport.
Right? Like, we've all been there. You think you've planned everything perfectly, and then...
Everything goes wrong. And I have to say, Sarah, you're kind of famous for these situations.
Hey, that's not fair. Okay, maybe it's a little fair, but look, I'm more spontaneous. You're the one who arrives at the airport 3 hours early.
2 hours early. And it's called being prepared. But okay, tell everyone about that time you almost missed your flight to Barcelona.
Oh no, you're really gonna make me tell this story? Okay, fine. So this was last summer, and I had a flight to Barcelona at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. flight.
Right, so I figured, okay, I need to be at the airport by noon. That's plenty of time. I booked a taxi for 11 a.m. because it usually takes about 45 minutes to get there.
Okay, that sounds reasonable so far.
I know, right? But here's the thing. I completely forgot it was a Friday morning during rush hour. Like, completely forgot.
Oh no, rush hour on Friday morning? That's like the worst possible time.
Exactly. So the taxi shows up right on time at 11, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I get in, and the driver says, "Traffic's gonna be bad today." And I'm like, how bad can it be?
Famous last words.
I know. So we're driving and everything's fine for the first 10 minutes. Then we hit this massive traffic jam. Like, we're literally not moving at all.
Oh my God, what time was it by then?
It was like 11:20 and I'm checking my phone, doing the math in my head. I need to be there by noon. It's 11:20 and we're still at least 30 minutes away from the airport.
That's cutting it really close.
So I start getting stressed, like really stressed. I'm texting my friend who was meeting me in Barcelona, telling her I might miss the flight. The taxi driver can see I'm freaking out and he's trying to be helpful.
What did he say?
He's like, "Don't worry, I know a shortcut." And I'm thinking, okay, great, maybe this will work out. But then we get to this shortcut and guess what?
More traffic.
More traffic. But like worse traffic because everyone else had the same idea about the shortcut. It's now 11:45 and we're still not even close to the airport.
Oh, wow. So what did you do? Were you panicking at this point?
I was definitely panicking. I called the airline to see if I could change my flight, but of course it was going to cost like 200 euros, and I didn't have that kind of money.
Right. Those change fees are crazy.
So I'm sitting in this taxi, stuck in traffic, watching the minutes tick by, and I'm thinking, this is it. I'm going to miss my flight and waste all this money. I was literally saying to myself, I'm running so late.
That's such a horrible feeling. I get anxious just thinking about it.
I know, but then, like a miracle, the traffic suddenly cleared up. It was like someone just turned off a switch. We started moving, and the driver was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna drive fast."
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, so he drops me off at the airport at exactly 12:15. I'm literally running through the terminal with my suitcase, looking for the check-in counter.
Running through the airport, that's like a movie scene.
It really was. And I get to the check-in counter, and the woman there looks at me and says, "You're cutting it very close. Boarding starts in 30 minutes.
30 minutes? That's actually not too bad once you're already checked in.
Exactly. But then I had to go through security, and of course, the security line was huge. I'm standing there looking at my watch, thinking, come on, move faster.
Oh, security lines are the worst when you're in a hurry. Did you make it through okay?
Well, it took forever, but I finally got through. Then I had to find my boarding gate, which was, of course, at the complete opposite end of the terminal.
Why is it always the furthest gate possible?
I know, right? So I'm speed walking, practically jogging through the airport, and I can hear these boarding announcements over the speakers. Final call for flight 247 to Barcelona.
Oh no, final call? That must have been terrifying.
I was so scared, but I made it. I literally ran up to the gate just as they were about to close the doors. The flight attendant looked at me like I was crazy, but she let me on.
Oh my gosh, you made it? That's amazing. I would have been so stressed, I probably would have cried.
I almost did cry. I was so relieved. I sat down in my seat and I was just shaking from all the adrenaline. The person next to me asked if I was okay, and I was like, I almost missed this flight.
That's such a relief, though. But I bet you learned your lesson about rush hour traffic, right?
You would think so, but honestly, I'm still not great at planning ahead. Though I do try to avoid Friday morning flights now.
That's something at least. You know, I've had stressful airport experiences too, but mine are usually the opposite problem. I get there so early that I'm just sitting around for hours.
Yeah, but that's so much better than almost missing your flight. At least you can relax and get coffee or something.
True, I'd rather be bored at the airport than running through it like you were, but your story really shows how quickly things can change when you're traveling.
Exactly. And it's such a good reminder that rush hour traffic is no joke, especially on Fridays. Always add extra time when you're booking a taxi to the airport.
Speaking of that, I once had a taxi driver who got completely lost on the way to the airport. This was before GPS was really common, and he kept stopping to ask for directions.
Oh no, that's even worse than traffic because you can't predict that.
Right. I was like, sir, you're a taxi driver. How do you not know where the airport is? But I made it with like 5 minutes to spare.
5 minutes? See, even you've had close calls. And that's why I always tell people to have the airline's phone number saved in their phone, just in case.
That's actually really good advice. Okay, so before we finish up today's episode, let's go over some useful travel vocabulary that came up in our stories. This will help you when you're talking about your own travel experiences.
Great idea. So the first expression is rush hour. This is the time when traffic is heaviest because everyone's going to work or coming home from work. Usually it's around 7 to 9 a.m. and 5 to 7 p.m.
Right. And if you say, I'm running late, it means you're behind schedule, you don't have enough time to get somewhere on time, like when Sarah was stuck in traffic.
Another useful phrase is drop me off. This is what you say when you want someone to take you somewhere and leave you there, like when I told the taxi driver to drop me off at the airport.
Mm-hmm. And at the airport, you'll hear check-in counter. That's the desk where you show your ticket and ID, and they give you your boarding pass and check your luggage.
And boarding gate is where you actually get on the plane. Each flight has a specific gate number, and that's where you wait to board your flight.
The last expression we'll mention is final call. This is the airport announcement that means you need to get to your gate immediately because they're about to close the doors and you'll miss your flight.
Yeah, you never want to hear final call for your flight. That's when you know you're in trouble, like I was in Barcelona.
Now, let's replay a short part of Sarah's story, but slower and clearer for practice. Listen to how we use these travel expressions naturally.
I booked a taxi for 11 a.m. because it usually takes about 45 minutes to get there. But I completely forgot it was a Friday morning during rush hour. The taxi driver drops me off at the airport, and I'm running through the terminal looking for the check-in counter. Then I hear the boarding announcements. Final call for flight 247 to Barcelona. I was thinking I'm running so late.
Perfect. You can hear all those travel expressions used in a natural way. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to Global English Podcast. I'm Maya.
And I'm Sarah. We'll see you next time with more travel stories and English practice. Remember, always leave extra time for rush hour traffic.